Honestly, I don't really understand why it's so expensive. What's up, Philippines? Welcome to another reaction video with your host, Nelly. Today, I am going to react to a couple that I've never seen before. And they are talking about 7 things we wish we knew before traveling to the Philippines. So I can just make some guesses and assumptions because I didn't know much about the Philippines before I came for the first time. Totally fell in love with it, moved there, and lived there ever since. So yeah, my life is in the Philippines. I love the country, and today I just want to see these 2 foreigners about things that they wish they would have known before coming. So let's check it out, shall we?
Hey guys, we're Lloyd and Mandy. We're digital nomads that have been traveling through Southeast Asia for the past 9 months. And today we're going to be sharing with you our top 7 things we wish we knew before traveling to the Philippines in 2022.
Alright, they traveled the Philippines, I guess. Started with the same way for me. Trip to Southeast Asia.
So we've been in the Philippines now for almost a month. And to be honest, we didn't do a lot of research before coming here. We just knew it was somewhere we really wanted to go. So hopefully this information will help you guys have a better understanding of what it's like here before you come.
All right, Wi-Fi.
So number 7 would be the Wi-Fi. For us as digital nomads, it's extremely important for us to have high-speed internet and reliable Wi-Fi because our jobs depend on it. And the Wi-Fi is a little bit spotty and a little bit unreliable since we've been in the Philippines. It's something that we think everyone needs to be aware of maybe before coming here if you are someone like us as a nomad. If you are just coming on holiday, it's probably the best place to unplug because you don't really have to worry about that. But as far as the Wi-Fi speed, downloading seems to be okay, but the upload speed is quite slow.
Okay.
For us as YouTubers and just for our other businesses as well, it's been a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, so like me.
Okay, so yeah, I totally get it about the upload speed because I am a YouTuber too, and yeah, download, I just wanted to say, has improved so much since the very first time I came to the Philippines. Literally, we were walking around with our phones up in the air, trying to get signal. I think everybody who lives in the province or on islands can relate. To a certain point, you have to drive to that one spot, the sweet spot where you have the best Wi-Fi. Usually it's you know what I'm talking about if you have been in the Philippines. But yeah, upload speed is something that could be improved.
And he said it's not even really that the Wi-Fi is slow, it's more that it's unreliable. You can still stream movies and things like that, but it's the upload speed that really gets you. And we find that whenever we check into a hotel, the Wi-Fi is fine for the first day, and I think it sort of runs out of data or something because by day 2 or 3, it's really bad, it's really spotty, and we find ourselves having to upload things overnight.
There is something that they should be aware of. So for example, if you're somewhere on the islands and let's say it's cloudy or rainy, the signal might vary. So yeah, island life is not for the digital nomads, I would say, at least not yet, until Elon Musk comes to the country to save us.
Have a little hack for the slow Wi-Fi, which is purchasing a SIM card to bring around with you. It's really cheap and it's just like an extra backup in case the Wi-Fi doesn't work. There's really 2 companies you can buy a SIM card with, and it's either Smart or Globe. We went with Smart because it had better reviews, and we just went into a store and bought a new SIM card. It was really easy. Actually, the security guard.
I use Globe.
Yeah.
And there's places you can reload that everywhere, but like I said, we haven't really had to use it. We just had it as an emergency. If you're on the little islands or provinces, you can reload it pretty much from anywhere.
All right, accommodations. Let's see what they have to say.
So number 6, and this is something we weren't really expecting, was accommodation seems to be more expensive than other places in Southeast Asia.
Yes.
Mainly Thailand, Vietnam, and Bali. We're expecting the accommodation to be quite similar, but it's not. You really don't get as much value for money. You have to spend a little bit extra. So to give you an example, in Vietnam and Thailand, we were spending like 25 to 30 Australian dollars a night, and we were getting like really good Wi-Fi, sometimes breakfast, a gym, things like that. Really like good hotels, 4-star hotels. Maybe it had something to do with the pandemic, but In the Philippines, we've really struggled to find anything on the same level for under 60 Australian dollars.
Yeah, nothing's really ticked all the boxes for us so far. I guess one of them being the Wi-Fi. If we find somewhere that's beautiful and looks good, usually the Wi-Fi hasn't been good. So yeah, that has been a bit of a challenge as well since we've been here.
That's not to say...
Okay, I can relate to this. I've been to a few places, stayed at many accommodations, and usually the beautiful ones are very expensive. Meaning, when I say very expensive, it's somewhere above $100 per night, which is considered expensive for Southeast Asian standards. Everything in the price range of what they say, like $30 to $50 is okay. I would say you get better accommodations in Thailand or in, for example, Bali for that price point. But yeah, it's very different. I hope this will improve in the Philippines. And honestly, I don't really understand why it's so expensive. So maybe you have some answers for me.
The Philippines is more expensive. We actually just did a video on the cost of living in the Philippines. You can click the link and watch it later. But
especially
it sort
Manila.
of evens out because other things like food and transport is really cheap here.
Seafood and barbecue, okay.
So number 5 is probably my favorite one. Philippines has the best seafood I've ever had in my life and the best barbecue as well. I've said this in multiple of our videos, so everyone's probably sick of me saying it.
Aww.
But it's true. Delicious and so fresh.
Yeah, and honestly, it makes sense because the Philippines is thousands of islands and you're surrounded by water everywhere you go. So it does make sense that they would have good seafood, but the barbecue is something that really took us by surprise. The barbecue's been awesome.
Nice. That's nice to hear. I had a few barbecues.
So number 4,
Delicious.
traveling around the
Masarap.
Philippines isn't really cheap. Now, when I say transport's cheap, that means like taxis and Grabs and motorbike hire, that's all cheap. But because everything's sort of so isolated, if you want to travel from different provinces to other islands, it's not that cheap because you have to either get a flight or you have to get a ferry, which actually isn't that cheap either. You're going to probably spend about $100 to $200 Australian getting from one island to another.
Yeah,
so if you want to go island hopping in the Philippines, just be prepared to plan ahead if you can, because you will get cheaper flights. But we sort of plan a lot of our stuff last minute, so it wasn't very cheap for us at all.
Yeah, I think our way of traveling maybe is a bit different to most. Like if you're coming for a holiday, obviously it's going to be a little bit different than if you are just like a nomad like us, working on the road and planning a few days in advance. But yeah, definitely if you can plan in advance, do so.
But also, if you want to do island hopping, I would highly suggest to go to Palawan. Explore Palawan and do a lot of island hopping there. It's all in one spot. You can do all of the things. Even Chagall. Yeah, but I agree. The flights are actually not that cheap. We have cheaper flights in Europe, which doesn't make sense to me. Like I could fly to London from Vienna for like 10 USD or 20 USD. But a flight to Palawan is around, I would say 120 USD. So why is it so expensive?
Yeah, if I had known how expensive it would have been, we probably would have booked a lot of our trip a bit earlier.
English speaking! Okay,
We're
interesting
quite
one.
surprised at how many people speak English here. If you go to some of the smaller islands, it's still a little bit of a grey area where they don't speak as good at English, but pretty much everywhere, if you walk into a shop or a restaurant and you speak English, they're going to know what you're saying. To an extent anyway, because I have an Australian accent and they don't understand it.
No one understands.
You might don't understand Australians that good. All right. American influence. Oh yeah.
One thing I noticed
Here we
and
go.
wasn't really expecting is just how much of an American influence there is here. I didn't know, but apparently Philippines is the only country in Asia that doesn't use chopsticks. As we mentioned before, their barbecue is amazing, and you'll find
interesting. Yeah, I never
burger
thought
joints
about that.
and really like Western, Americanized food restaurants all over the Philippines. They also drive on the right-hand side of the road.
That's
which
a friend's
was bit of a shock
restaurant.
coming from the other parts of Southeast Asia. They also, as we mentioned, they speak a lot of English, and the number one sport in the Philippines is basketball, which is very surprising because everywhere else in Asia it seems to be like soccer or football, whatever you call it.
Lots of soccer, yeah.
We're actually going to our first Filipino basketball game in a couple of days, so make sure you check out
Oh,
that video
interesting.
when we release it.
As a Canadian, I feel like I felt more at home here because of the American influence. I don't know, because of all the other countries we'd been to, it's kind of nice coming somewhere that had that American feel to it. It sort of made me feel, like...
There's a strong Western influence.
I'd say it's not quite as much of a culture shock as it is going to like Indonesia and Vietnam and Thailand.
Yeah.
Okay, weather, here we go.
And number one would be the weather. So the weather's been pretty inconsistent and different everywhere that we've been so far.
Yeah, I was
Rainy
really
season, I guess?
Because the first place we really went was El Nido, and it pretty much rained every day, which we knew we were coming in the middle of wet season. But then somebody reached out to us and told us that Siargao is actually dry season, and I thought that can't be possible. Like, they're not that far from each other. I think it was about an hour flight or something. And it turns out that July is the driest month in Siargao, and since we've been here, it's been pretty much blue skies every day.
It's been beautiful, the best weather, and the water and everything, like just being in Siargao has been beautiful, like the best.
Okay, I can't really blame them because I made the same mistake when we traveled to the Philippines for the very first time. We also went to El Nido. It was rainy season, and then we're like, oh my goodness, we have to leave. It's just raining down. It was raining so much that there was no internet, no electricity. There was nothing. It was floods everywhere. So we could just stay in our hotel room. We were like, no, we have to leave. So we looked into some other destinations within the Philippines, and it turned out that Boracay at that time was sunny. So yeah, that solved the problem. So sometimes you just have to travel somewhere else within the country, because the Philippines is actually, it's a very long stretch. So I would say throughout the whole year, you have places to go where it's kind of dry and nice. So
I think actually the best weather we've had since we've been in Southeast Asia, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it does rain a lot in Siargao, but we just happen to get lucky and be here in the dry months. So if you're planning a trip to the Philippines, it's not a blanket weather system across the whole country. Just do your research, and you'll find that there's probably certain areas that you're better off going at certain times of year.
Just keep in mind, if you are going to these other islands as well, just an extra side note, because of the rainy season and being on islands, it is a little bit buggy. I've noticed like there's lots of, creepy crawlies and mosquitoes are pretty prevalent here. So if you are prone to getting bit, just keep that in mind. Bring lots of mosquito repellent with you, because I'm someone that constantly gets bit by everything. So just to keep that in mind as well.
And also, being like monsoon season doesn't mean it rains all day. It just might be cloudy for most of the day, and you'll probably get an hour or two of rainfall in the afternoon, so it's not too bad anyway.
We hope you guys have found this video helpful in some way. If you have, give
it
a thumbs up. And
thank you so much, guys. Yeah, this was actually interesting for me. I agree with a lot of the things that they mentioned. I'm even thinking about doing my own version on Nelly's Life, on my other channel, where I travel a lot and I've seen a lot of places in the Philippines as well. 50 provinces! Very proud about that. Let me know what kind of things you wish you would have known before coming to the Philippines, or what you would like your friends to know abroad. So definitely an interesting video for me. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new and want to see more reactions about the Philippines. I kind of like know the Philippines in and out, but still learn a lot through these videos. So I hope you enjoyed it today, and I'll see you on the next one here on What's Up Philippines. Mwah.